Good morning, everyone. We are back again with best and crisp content from the newspaper in our initiative 10 minutes and newspaper done. So let's begin without wasting any minute. So, first news of the day is India has started Operation Kaveri to evacuate its nationals from conflict torn Sudan. The political crisis in Sudan turned into countrywide armed conflict on April 15 after disagreement between the paramilitary rapid support forces and the Sudanese armed forces over the security sector reform spiraled into an armed confrontation between the commanders of the two wings. India had earlier stationed two C-130J heavy lift aircraft in Jeddah and set INS Sumedha in Port Said for the operation. We must also remember previous evacuation operations of India, like 2022 Operation Ganga, where Indian nationals were evacuated from Ukraine due to Russia-Ukraine war. In 2020, Operation Vande Bharat, where for Indian nationals were evacuated from foreign countries during COVID-19 pandemic. 2020 Operation Samudra Setu is also related to COVID-19 pandemic, but it was done through naval operations using naval ships like Jalashwa, Airawat, etc. Second news is Safe City Project, a Ministry of Home Affairs initiative in collaboration with the Ministry of Women and Child Development under the Nirbhaya Fund in 8 metro cities: Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and Lucknow. The project aims to create a safe, secure, and empowering environment for women and girls in public spaces. We all know about Nirbhaya Fund, which is a non-lapsable corpus fund for safety and security of women. It has been in news because 30% of fund has approx 30% of fund has remained unutilized for a long time. The details of the project are 10,582 CCTV cameras to be installed across Delhi, command and control centers with facilities like video analytics, AI, machine learning, facial recognition system, etc. Two mobile command and control vehicles to be employed, 88 mobile police vans known as prakhars, equipped with mobile data terminals, body-worn cameras, and vehicle-mounted cameras to patrol the city. AI-based applications to be used for real-time crowd assessment, picking up behavioral traits and alerting emergency response teams. Location-based services and criminal databases to be integrated with CCTV feeds for prompt and effective resolution of safety issues at public places. Third news, governors should not sit over bills if they don't agree. Governors should send back bills as soon as possible, says Supreme Court. Supreme Court referred to the first proviso to Article 200 of the Constitution, which mandates that governors should not dally over bills sent to them for assent after they had been passed by legislative assemblies. The observation is part of judicial order of the court in a petition filed by Tamil Nadu for pending bills. Fourth news is also about pending bills, the issue of gubernatorial inaction. Background, Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution urging the President of India, among other things, to fix a timeline for assent to be given to bills passed by the Assembly. Relevant articles of the Constitution. Article 355 of the Constitution says that it shall be the duty of the Union to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. Although this article was meant to provide justification for central intervention in the states, its scope and range needs to be widened. The Constitution requires the governor to act when a bill is passed by the Assembly and present it to him as per the options given in Article 200. If he does not act in accordance with the Constitution and sits on the bills indefinitely, he is creating a situation where governance of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the constitutional provisions. In such a situation, the government of the state has a constitutional duty to invoke Article 355 and inform the President about it and request her to give suitable instructions to the governor to ensure that the government is carried on in accordance with the Constitution. Sitting on bills is not a provision under Article 200. Article 200 provides option to the governor when a bill is presented to him after being passed by the legislature or legislative council wherever it is present in the states. These options are to give assent to the bills, to withhold assent, to send it back to the assembly to reconsider it, or to send the bill to the president for his consideration. In case the assembly reconsiders the bill as per the request of the governor under the third option, he has to give assent even if the assembly passes it again without accepting any of the suggestions of the governor. It is only logical to think that When the constitution gives certain options to the governor, he is required to exercise one of them. Sitting on a bill passed by the assembly is not an option given by the constitution. Let's compare it with the Constitution of the United Kingdom. D.D. Basu, in his commentaries on the Constitution, says the position of the governor in this respect is that of the sovereign in England. In theory, the sovereign can refuse to give his assent, but this right has not been exercised since the reign of Queen Anne. The veto could now only be exercised on ministerial advice, and no government would veto bills for which it was responsible. Refusal of royal assent on the ground that the monarch strongly disapproved of a bill or that it was intensely controversial would be unconstitutional. Under Article 154 of the Constitution, the governor can exercise his executive powers only on the advice of the Council of Ministers. So there is a view that the governor can withhold assent to a bill only on ministerial advice. Fifth news is an opinion article which can be used in the mains answer by Vivek Karju. Heading is Indian Diplomacy and the Horses of Interest Morality. Background is Ukraine's first Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Amin Zaparova, bluntly put across the dichotomy of India's pursuit of its interest in global affairs, as it always must, and at the same time appear to follow the path of morality as a Vishwaguru. It was pointing to the wide variance between India's desire to be a moral teacher and the cold pursuit of its interest in not condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In past, when India was severely critical of US actions in Vietnam and earlier the Anglo-French invasion of Egypt in 1956 against President Gamal Abdel Nasser's nationalization of the Suez Canal, US and Western diplomats often pointed to its relative silence on Soviet operations in Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and later Afghanistan. However, there was a basic difference between the dialectic of Indian discourse on foreign affairs then and what is now being projected as part of the Vishwaguru project. Then, India's foreign policy principles were rooted in contemporary world orders principles. Now, the inspiration flows from the wisdom of ancient India, with the claim that its worldwide application would contribute to the welfare of the planet. Even the West's stand in the past has not been very moral. United States, while advocating democracy, it has sided with the most obnoxious dictators. Its and indeed Western Europe's decades of support for the apartheid regime in South Africa is a shameful and a hypocritical record of breaking every norm of the world order. Indic intellectual traditions had many strands of thoughts. On one side, it was Indian traditions of spiritual democracy, celebration of diversity, harmony with nature, and the idea of world as a family. Whereas on the other side, there was the idea of a lawless world where the brave and powerful prevailed, was part of the political idea contained in the term Matsya Nyaya mentioned in Dharmashastra. Sixth news is about RBI notification, batting for borrowers. The RBI's recent draft circular on penal charges on loan accounts may give respite to individual borrowers. The RBI has emphasized that it wants to ensure that lenders do not seek to unduly profit from the borrower's default in servicing their loans, even as it allows the credit provider to reprice the loan in case a borrower's credit risk profile has changed. Observing that the regulatory intent of a penal levy was solely to foster credit discipline among borrowers through a negative incentive. The RBI noted that lenders, however, had in practice turned the penal interest into a revenue enhancement tool. RBI has now laid down that penal charges should be recovered separately and must not be added either to the principal outstanding or the rate of interest charged on the loan. The penal charge must be communicated upfront when finalizing every loan and unfailingly reiterated to the borrower in every subsequent reminder for loan repayments. In context of the sharp uptick in retail lending in recent years, while industry's share of outstanding bank credit had shrunk to about 24% as of February 2023 from over 43% in 2014-15, the omnibus category of personal loans had surged to 30% from just 19% 8 years ago, making it the largest credit category. This news is about the most important judgment in the history of Indian Constitution. Supreme Court creates web page for Kesavananda Bharati judgment, the historic 1973 fundamental rights case. Kesavananda Bharati case, in which a 13-judge bench, the largest constituted in the court's history, through a wafer-thin majority of 7:6, held that the parliament cannot amend the basic structure of constitution. The case of Nanda Bharti judgment held that parliament cannot use its constituent power to alter the essential features of the constitution. The basic structure or framework of the constitution was its living spirit, holding up the body of its text. Its existence cannot be pinpointed to any particular provision of the text was the soul of the constitution. Eighth and the final news of the day, vibrant village program along China border to be integrated with PM Gati Shakti for better monitoring. Vibrant village program which aims to develop infrastructure and open up villages to tourists along the China border. You can use this information in infrastructure topic of the GS paper 3. The digital platform of Gati Shakti brings 16 ministries including railways and roadways together for integrated planning and coordinated implementation of infrastructure connectivity projects and allow government departments to break operational silos. The significance of Gati Shakti can be seen as Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the launch of the Gati Shakti Yojana, a 100 lakh crore project for developing holistic infrastructure in India on the 75th Independence Day. Its seven engines are roads, railways, airports, ports, mass transports, waterway, and logistic infrastructure. On February 15, the Union Cabinet approved the program to cover 2,967 villages in 46 border blocks of 19 districts in 4 states and 1 union territory. Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand are the 4 states, and Ladakh is the 1 union territory. One of the objectives of the Vibrant Village program is to stop migration of border population, a senior government official said. Thank you for watching. Keep visiting our website, Telegram channel, and Instagram and Twitter handles for more content.